Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. Hope you guys had a fantastic and restful Thanksgiving break. Our guest today, Jenny Belanger, coming out of Massachusetts, she's going to talk to us all about the importance of websites and business growth. She's going to talk about how she combines strategy and aesthetics, common myths, what to do to improve your conversions. And I'm really happy to have her on to have her share her expertise and give value to the audience. So, Jenny, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christopher. I'm excited to chat today.
Yeah, briefly introduce yourself, and I'm excited to dive into the questions.
Yeah, like you said, I live in Reading, Massachusetts, and I'm a mom and I have two kids and a dog, and I come from a nonprofit background and I own a website design company working mostly with small businesses, both local and online, and trying to help them really shine online and attract their ideal clients and make money with their websites.
Yeah. And I really love this idea because for the longest time, I refused to have a website because I was like, everybody's on social media. But talk about the reasons why websites are a must have for your business to grow.
They're an absolute must-have. I always liken a website to being an employee that is working for you around the clock, 24/7, and it does all the heavy lifting. It used to be a lot of people were coming to me and saying, I'm on social media. I don't need a website. I'm making money booking clients through social media. And my response to that is, how much time and effort are you actually putting into answering questions in the DMs and having these conversations when you could be sending them to your website that would be answering the questions for them immediately and getting them into your sales process? And we all know we don't own our social media accounts. They can disappear at any point in time. So it's really important to have a little space of the internet that you really own and you control the narrative and that it works hard for you. You need your website to work hard for you to bring in those leads.
Yeah, because I was just my first question was, what do you do? For example, I have a website. It's there. I use it more just to that's like my email list, and I have a blog and newsletter. A lot of times, like all the social media traffic goes to my website. What is how these entrepreneurs that are listening to this that are thinking, how can I use my website? What are common ways that entrepreneurs use their website for conversions or marketing, or how do you measure website success?
That's a great question. I think it all comes down to your overall goal because most of us know we need a website. And what is it that you want someone to do when they come to your website? What is the first step in your sales process? For me, I work a lot with service providers. And typically, the first step in the process is to have a consultation call. And then from there, you talk about what you offer, and then they decide if they want to work with you. So, for service providers, the first step is typically reaching out to either book that call or to fill out a form to schedule a time to connect, or maybe even to contact you to give a call, to call your office to have that first conversation. Understanding what is it that the overall goal is, and then making sure that your website is really aligning with that goal. And everything that you do is driving people to take that step, making sure that there are calls to actions, buttons, driving them to that contact page so that they can actually reach out and make that conversion, make that action happen. Keeping that in mind is super important when you're building a website. What is that goal? And then making sure everything aligns with that goal.
Yeah. And for the audience listening, we're going to spend the latter half talking about how to design your website so that it's aesthetically pleasing and how to personalize your brand presence and mistakes to avoid in web design. So if that's of interest, stay tuned. And what I want to talk about just for like really quick, easy, actionable tips for the audience for website optimization. What are simple, actionable steps listeners today can take to improve their website's performance today?
The most important part of your website is your homepage, that landing. When someone gets to your website above the fold, meaning they don't have to scroll down, what they see, those words and that image and a button. This is probably the most important part of your website. You want to get this right. You need to make sure that person knows exactly who you are, how you help them, and then how to take the next step with you. And you want to make it simple and clear because our attention spans are like shrinking. It used to be like 3 minutes, 3 seconds. And now I think it's like less than that, like a second. So when we get somewhere, we just want answers. We don't want to have to use our brains. Being really clear, sharing what you do. Like for me, I'm a website designer, like plain and simple when you land there. And I help you design beautiful websites that make you money. Very clear what you, the person, is going to get out of working with me and how I can help make your life better. And then a button. If you do one thing today, look at your website when someone lands there. Are you clear? Does someone immediately know what you do? And then the imagery, does that correspond? If you're the face of your brand, I really love seeing like the person behind the brand, right, front and center on that homepage. And if not, a lot of medical professions or insurance or anyone like that, then having an image that shows the result that you bring. I actually talk about this a lot, like using a dentist as an example. Sometimes when you go to dentist websites, you'll see a picture of someone sitting in the dentist chair. But actually, what you want is an image of a person living their life, smiling with their big white teeth. That's the result that you're going to give. So ensuring that landing aligns with who you want to attract and making it really clear. That's one thing you can do today that shouldn't take you too long that will make a huge difference.
Yeah, I love that. I love the words, the picture, and the button. What are some of the most common mistakes small business owners make with their websites, and how can they fix them?
A lot of times we want to share everything on our websites. We just want to put it all there. And it really comes down to the fact that less is more. People are busy when they're visiting our websites, and we want to streamline and give them the information that they need that answers their questions and help them make a decision. And I see this happen a lot just on the home page. We just add all this copy and we keep writing about our background and what we do and what we offer. But you want to be really clear and concise. And then it also shows up in the navigation. A lot of times you have an offer, then you add another offer, and then you popping it up in the navigation, and all of a sudden you've got all these options up at the top. You want to be limited in what you have at the top, only the most important actions up there so that you are driving people to make the conversions. So one of the most common mistakes is having too much on there. You want to see what you can take out and have a little bit less.
The whole idea of kind of websites and social media is in marketing is this idea of funnels, and you don't believe in funnels. Why is that? And what strategies do you recommend instead?
When people hear the word funnel, it sounds very rigid and it's like every small business owner has to have a funnel. And I like to refer to it as the client journey because people come to you at different points in their journey. A lot of times, if you have a higher ticket offering, they might not be ready to buy, but they want to learn about you. They want to read your resources. So understanding where they are and meeting them where they are in their journey, making sure that if they're not ready to take the next step with you to become a client, do you offer something else? Like you talked about a freebie getting onto your newsletter list. Is there a way that they can stay in touch and increase that know and trust factor and continue the conversation beyond your website? What kind of resources can you have? What can you provide them with? But understanding there is a journey we want them to go on, sign up for that newsletter or reach out and make contact. But it doesn't have to be this like rigid, they enter here and then they go through there and they give an email and then they get 5 emails like following up and then they go to this page. Like it doesn't have to be a rigid funnel. You just need to have some way that you're being consistent to encourage people to take the action that you want them to take.
Yeah. I want to spend the latter half talking about just strategy, aesthetics. So talk about how do you strike a balance between strategic functionality and aesthetic appeal in web design?
It all comes back down to the goal of your website. That's the strategy piece. Understanding where are we driving people to. And then from there, looking at your website, just even a web page, and understanding that everything is in sections. And each section should have its own look and feel that marries the words in an image, but in a concise way that's not overwhelming for the reader. You want to avoid huge chunks of text. When we see that, we skip right over it. You want to make sure that you're combining bullets and lists and headlines with an image, so side by side or some other type of pairing, and just continue that throughout your page. Understanding that the colors that you're using should be your brand colors. You want to make sure that you have some consistent colors for your brand and your branded fonts, picking 2 fonts that you use throughout everything. That will do so much to bring up the aesthetics on your website and carrying that look and feel throughout all your pages. But infusing your kind of brand colors and personality will bring it to life and having imagery to support that. I think that's a really good way to get started on focusing on the aesthetics and making it in a balanced look and feel to it.
Yeah. And explain how you help clients showcase their unique brand personality online. How do you combine and what is your approach and strategy to have their website performing optimally?
Strategy first, like you said, but then it is looking at your brand colors and taking a deep dive. Are these the colors that really reflect you and attract your ideal clients? If you have a really punchy business and you have an excitement to you, are you using vivid colors? And are we applying that to your website and having a really bold action color, encouraging people to click that button to take that action? Or if you are a little bit more of a muted brand and very more quiet and modern and clean, like mine is, then making sure we have a lot of white space and bringing out your personality with your words, the copy on the website, and incorporating imagery. It's like a little balancing act, but I really like to design websites that aren't just your standard corporate enterprisey website, bringing a little whimsy and fun to whatever your brand feel is. And that's one of my passions to bring that out online.
How is website design evolving in 2024 and into the new year? And how do small businesses still adapt and evolve with combining this traditional website with social media and all these different marketing strategies?
Your website is still the centerpiece of your business. It's doing all the hard work for you. I think for next year, 2 things. We've seen the rise of AI over the last couple of years. I see it more and more. People are popping some prompts in and pulling some words and putting that into your website. I think for 2025, it's going to come back to really having the words, the copy that's written in your brand voice, that's really personal, that has those stories that you understand that it's not pulled from a chatbot. I think that's one of the things that we're going to really see. People are going to resonate more with those personable brands. And then incorporating a little bit of AI on the back end. So you could do that with maybe like a chat bot that can answer some questions for your visitor. Because like I said, we're all busy and maybe incorporating something like that will catch someone's attention and be able to answer their questions immediately. But using AI like that. But I think next year, being really personable and building that emotional connection will be more important than ever.
Mhm. One thing was really interesting to me is this idea of having a blog, because traditionally it's been people had blogs on their website, and just doing kind of market research and talking to a lot of successful social media influencers and entrepreneurs. They're moving from blogs to newsletters. Is it still necessary to have a blog on your website? I had it, but I'm just like, the ROI is not really good. But what are your thoughts?
I think a blog is important
Mhm.
for twofold. The first being because if you're spending time to write a newsletter and you're putting all that energy into that, or even if you're writing that social media post, repurpose it, put it on your website. It's going to live forever. It's going to be that piece of content. The second reason is if you optimize that content for keyword research, ensuring that you use a few keywords, then that post will show up in search and you will get more visitors from that post. So I think that blogs are important. I definitely have one on my website. And it goes back to meeting that person where they are in their user journey and having resources for them. So if you have the time and the capabilities, I would say keep investing in that blog. It will benefit you in the long run for sure.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's and then just like we were talking about, just like a website is like some people have a website just that's their storefront because when people ask you, what's your website and you say you don't have one, then it just raises eyebrows. And same thing with blog. I think it's gives you a good brand presence and brand awareness. How can people find you and reach out to you, check out your work with you, and so on?
Yeah, we're on a podcast. So if you like listening to podcasts, I do have one myself. It's called Website Design Made Simple, where I share ways that small business owners can uplevel their websites and attract more ideal clients. So you can find me there, or you can visit me at jennybdesigns.com. And I have lots of resources, lots of blog posts, and you can join my newsletter list as well over there.
I love that. And thanks again for a very important, insightful, impactful conversation and keep up the great work.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate it.